Hi, I'm Randall Stevens, and this is a Mavens of Content interview. We're at the Building Content Summit in Scottsdale, Arizona. And on the first day, I've got with me Mike Collins with GPD, which is Global Product Data. Welcome, Mike. Maybe I'll just start by saying, what brought you to the Building Content Summit, and what have you learned in the first half day since we've been here?
Thank you very much. What brought me here is I've been for about 20 years part of the group of individuals that have been focused on helping manufacturers build content, how to understand content specifically around the BIM, Revit, AutoCAD environment. And so it was a very natural event to come here. Been waiting a long time actually for a focused event to be put on where basically it gives a forum for manufacturers to understand the intricacies and do's and don'ts and where the next generation of content development is going. And so it's great to be able to just interact in that way.
Good. Sorry, we're having to share the mic here with this, but from that sense, this summit was kind of designed to be a backdrop, hopefully, for manufacturers to be able to come and learn as they're introduced or think that they need to be thinking about these types of things. How much of that do you think is going on, or how much need is there for that? And has it been something that's been missing in the industry?
Oh, absolutely. I would say that, like yourself, when 10, 15 years ago, when we were helping manufacturers build this content, for them it was very much a case of, I've got technical specification, CAD files, I know I need to have this thing called a Revit family, but help me build it. But it was very much the Wild West. There wasn't any standards, modeling guides, anything of that nature. Not that there is a lot now, but I think there's a consensus now that we've reached a point where there's been a lot of content out there now that's really old and dated. I think the technology has evolved. I think that it's time for manufacturers to take another serious look at, not only updating, but obviously developing content in a different way with different tools. And a lot of and don't try and do it themselves. I think there's a lot of very cool technology out there now that can help them serve the user community. And at the end of the day, it's about building content for their customers' customers. I mean, we're here to help them, but does it help them?
So I guess along those lines, I think you're right. I think we've entered this where people probably made investments 10, 15 years ago, and they probably either quit investing and have kind of gotten back to that point where they're back at scratch. Who do you think from the manufacturer side, who should be coming to these events? What kind of level, where's that buy-in level need to happen? How do as you said, they're going to get a lot of their content. They may not produce it all in-house. They may be having outside vendors do that. Who do you think should be at these types of events?
Yeah, that's a great question because having sold personally many manufacturers these services, and what I do daily is work with them. I think that there's given the curriculum, I would say, first of all, if you're a manufacturer that has invested in somebody or a team that you want to bring Revit content development in-house, I think you absolutely send that person, because if they don't come to events like this where they learn of other ways and other tools, they could become very focused on just their product, right? Not understanding how it interacts with the built environment. So that, I think, would be very important. Marketing directors and that genre, the VP of marketing and sales and marketing, absolutely should be here because they're charged with bringing tools and services to their customers, marketing on their web environments. And as you know, there's a soup to nuts delivery of content from the web. And then ultimately, I think, when you see a presentation like Paul Doherty did this morning, senior execs can play a role, understanding the strategy of what's around the corner. So that's what I'd recommend.
Yeah, I think you're hitting on, I think the natural is to think that it's the people maybe tasked with building, if there are people in-house that are more on the technical side or pragmatic side of how to get this stuff done. But, I've been talking about how I think there could be I'll call it the BIM 101 from a sales and marketing standpoint, and mainly from the standpoint of, that they understand, what this is all about and why it's important. The reason that being is when they go back and that practitioner now within there is asking for resources and needing that, you need somebody else across the table saying, yes, we agree. And usually it's those sales and marketing budgets where a lot of this stuff might be coming from anyway. So I completely agree with you there. And that's one of the things I think that this event is going to continue to work on. But so what else should we be thinking about or doing that we could add to maybe make this a better event?
That's a good question. One of the areas that we are seeing, talking to Matthew from A2K of Australia, the whole democratization of where Autodesk specifically, I know ArchiCAD is as well, and Trimble SketchUp, they're all part of the same ecosystem, but the globalization, I think that if there was maybe a speaker from another country that was educating on how to, or what is going on with standards over there, or content creation, or the way that the built environment is very different there than it is here. I think that again that would attract some diversity, as BIM is a global platform. I mean, you heard from Paul today about how that the projects that he's doing over there, but many of them being designed here. And I think that there could just be a level of understanding about it's not just US and North America. There's an awful lot of value going on across the border. So that would be one thing.
Well, it's a good segue for me to plug that we are doing a one-day version of this event in Portugal and Porto in October. And but I think the point of it's not just geographically going, but people being able to talk about the content, because there's a lot of manufacturers who obviously are having to support and supply content globally, as well as firms, even here in the U.S., that obviously are doing a lot of work around the world. So they're fighting those issues.
Add to that, there are companies that we're working with, like Allegion, which the ex-Ingersoll Rand, or Victorlic that's here. They have global footprints, and they have real challenges as to what part of their content is standard, what part of it is unique, how do you manage that, how do you not make it siloed, how do you keep it updated. I think bringing somebody that's managing with that problem is something that could be a great education for people in the room.
Yeah. Well, great. Well, thanks, Mike, for being our first guinea pig here today. And we do this, I told you earlier, Aaron Maller and I started this podcast, so I'm sure we'll reach back out and grab you on Skype sometime and maybe spend about 30 minutes going a little deeper dive into some of this and talking about your all's products. That'll be great. All right. Thanks, Mike.